As if this offseason for the Baltimore Ravens could not get any worse, it takes literally another turn as Ben Cleveland was apparently arrested for a DUI last week. Let's read the article from TMZ Sports. It says, Baltimore Ravens offensive lineman Ben Cleveland was arrested for a DUI last week. TMZ Sports has learned after he allegedly drove his truck with a BAC, and BAC is the percentage of alcohol in a person's blood at the time that they get arrested, the blood alcohol content. But anyway, he drove his truck with the BAC over twice the legal limit. According to Baldwin County Sheriff's Office, documents were obtained. Cleveland was suspected of drunk driving in Milledgeville, Georgia on February 12th. The documents state the 26-year-old, a third-round pick in the 2021 draft out of the University of Georgia, was pulled over at around 10:25 p.m. after he had been swerving in a roadway. Cops wrote Cleveland was actually driving so erratically he nearly steered his black Ford 250 into a ditch. Whew. Anyway, it says, during the stop, authorities said Cleveland admitted to drinking approximately 3 to 4 beers at a nearby country club before getting behind the wheel. They also wrote in the report his eyes were glossy and an odor of booze emanated from his ride. The docs state Cleveland failed at least one field sobriety test. They also note he blew a .78, more than double the legal limit of .08 when a breathalyzer was administered. Cleveland was hauled off to a nearby jail, and according to the documents, an additional breath sample was taken at the facility. It returned a BAC level of .161. So even though it went down a little bit, it was still very, very high. So Cleveland was then hit with 2 separate citations, one for DUI, alcohol, and the other for failure to maintain lane. The 6'7", 315-pound guard has played in 54 games for Baltimore since joining the team, starting 7 of them. So when you think about that, and these are... That's a lot, allegedly, that happened with Ben Cleveland. If this did go down, like they're saying it went down according to this article, allegedly, 6'7", 315 pounds, that ain't no small person. So, and normally with alcohol, the heavier you are, the more that your body could like hold it down or whatnot. So, according to this, like he was over double man, that's something right there. Anyway, it says, we've reached out to the Ravens for comment, but have not heard back yet. Yeah, Ravens, they got some other stuff that they working on handling right now, too. I already know, y'all know exactly what we are talking about, but this is off season for the Ravens. And I know with Ben Cleveland, like, the timing is so terrible for him individually. Obviously, first and foremost, forget football. Get right. And I know sometimes stuff happens. Sometimes in our lives we could have one-offs and whatnot. We could have these situations that just don't ever happen, but it ended up happening, and then we got to pay for it. So we got to be accountable for stuff like that. But if there's something else going on, then just get right. And it sounds like from this article, nobody was hurt. So that's a big relief in itself, including Ben Cleveland. So that's a good thing. But with Ben Cleveland, this timing is terrible. It could not be worse, because the way that things have been lining up for him, even before this, he was going to get an opportunity, and he still could possibly get an opportunity, but it wasn't looking too good, because he's a former third-round pick, and he started a couple of games. He started 7 games, but other than that, no, he ain't done much of playing for the Baltimore Ravens. But even when he did play, he looked solid. But now it's like you didn't play, because you missed out on the opportunity. They put you at center for a little bit, and that was when Tyler Linderbaum was hurt in the offseason. But they put him at center. They put him at guard, and he didn't beat out Daniel Falele, didn't beat out Pat McCary. And I know with that, I know a lot of people feel like there was some politics involved in the locker room. You know, Harbaugh not the biggest Ben Cleveland fan at all, but with Ben Cleveland, one thing that I had appreciated, especially this offseason, I remember he had an interview, and I don't remember exactly what he said, but I just remember how he said it, and he really took accountability. Harbaugh had said something. I forgot what Harbaugh said about Ben Cleveland this offseason, but Harbaugh kind of, not threw him under the bus, but kind of basically talked about Ben Cleveland in the not so best light. But Ben Cleveland, he took it in stride, and he didn't make no bad comments, and he handled it very maturely, very professionally. And he basically said, like, look, it's on me. I need to make the most of any opportunity that I get. I know what's at stake. I know what's at hand. And the way that he answered, I was like, okay, Ben Cleveland, okay, good stuff. That's great. But obviously throughout the season, he didn't end up starting. So he was active, but he was just on the bench. He was a reserve offensive lineman. So going into free agency, I figured, all right, he'll get an opportunity somewhere with somebody, but who's it going to be? But now with this is a big hit right here. And obviously he could come back from it. He could still get more, because people have done a lot in the NFL and they get a lot of second chances. And I think it's important to allow people to have second chances in life in general, because people make mistakes. Some people make big mistakes. Some people make small mistakes. We all make big and small mistakes. We all have before. We all still will continue to. But the NFL, they definitely are big time with second chances in a lot of cases. Not for everybody, but in a lot of cases, they big on second chances. So with Ben Cleveland, we'll see what happens. But this does not help him at all in free agency. This does not help his case. With the Baltimore Ravens, it wasn't gonna happen. He wasn't coming back to the Ravens. He wasn't coming back to the Ravens. But this is just a bad look, man. It's a bad look. But hopefully for his sake, he can turn it around. He can turn it around and he can put this whole situation behind him. Again, it's the best news that came out of this is that nobody was hurt. That is the best news in my opinion. That nobody got hurt. He's good. Anybody else that was on the road at that time, they're obviously good. And that's because, again, we've heard stories like this a lot. We hear stories like this a lot of time, and they don't always end up so good. They really, really don't. But it's scary stuff. It's very, very scary stuff. But obviously, if this did happen, right now it's alleged, according to the article and whatnot. It's strong allegations here. But if this did happen, then yeah, he got to be responsible for it. So I'm not sure what the penalty would be, what the rules would be, I'm not sure what all that would be. But he does definitely have to be held accountable for his actions. Because even though nothing did happen to anybody else, still that is a very, very scary situation to put yourself in and be behind the wheel, especially in a big truck like that too. Oof, that's some scary stuff, man. Ooh, all right, so now let's turn around the vibes of this video and get a much more positive atmosphere up in here. Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on so you can stay up to date with everything going down with our Baltimore Ravens, and also leave a like on the video, because we have entered the part where I love the most. My favorite part of these videos, where we get to feature your questions. If you would like to take part in it, you can send an email to teamkeepitclean@gmail.com. Or for the Team Keep It Clean patrons, you can send your question in a DM directly on Patreon. And if you'd like to join them, you can go to patreon.com/Ingravenvids. Appreciate y'all Team Keep It Clean patrons. Appreciate y'all Team Keep It Clean channel members. And appreciate just everybody that's part of Team Keep It Clean. So let's get into your questions. First one came from my guy, LaVar. He said the Eagles won. Now the narrative will be that Hurts is a top 10 quarterback, or is he better than Lamar? Oh, yeah. That Super Bowl, I mean, him just appearing in a Super Bowl, that already had people saying that. But him winning it, and good for him, good for the Eagles. The Chiefs, just nice seeing them lose. But anyway, that already started people having those conversations. I will say, and then this was a conversation that I did appreciate, where people were like, oh, which career would you rather have? Would you rather have Lamar Jackson's career or Jalen Hurts' career? So that's one right there, because it could be like, boom, oh yeah, Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP. Should have been 3, but it is what it is. They felt bad for Josh Allen, but Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP, broke 1 million records. But Jalen Hurts been to the Super Bowl 2 times, and he won one of them. Now he got that Super Bowl trophy. So which one would you rather have? Anyway, it says the Ravens must get a dominant pass rusher this offseason. The Eagles just gave the entire NFL a masterclass on how to defeat Mahomes. Lamar has to get a ring next year. If not, it'll definitely be time for Steve to grow a pair and fire. Oh my goodness. And the thing about that, like, yeah, they did give the NFL a blueprint on how to beat the Chiefs, but the Baltimore Ravens, they are so close. So it's not like the Ravens just gotta, this offseason, oh my goodness, they just gotta go crazy with it. They gotta do some unconventional, well, they do need to do some unconventional stuff, but the Ravens are very, very close right now. It's not like they're far off. They're literally right there. Lost to the Bills by 2 points. The Chiefs game early this season, they lost by 2 inches, 2 toes. So they're right there. They just gotta make some significant moves, do stuff a little bit different to get over that hump. And speaking of Super Bowl, next question came from my guy Zaga. He said Patrick Mahomes just threw the second pick. I'm willing to bet Patrick Mahomes gets no backlash if they end up losing this game. And he said they are doing exactly what I thought they were going to do. That's making excuses for the Chiefs losing. They're basically saying he doesn't have the weapons to win the big game. I feel like when you make it to the Super Bowl, that's not an excuse because they were good enough to help you make it. Then how are they not good enough to help you win? This loss was on him. He threw 2 or 3 picks and a pick 6. Oh yeah, he definitely contributed. It wasn't all on Patrick Mahomes, but he definitely contributed. Now as far as but then the legacy talk. That's where when there's legacy talk when Patrick Mahomes. Oh no, he not Brady, and that's fine. Hey, you want to say Patrick Mahomes not Brady? That's cool. But Patrick Mahomes, even with this Super Bowl loss, as much as I would hate to say it, he's still going down as one of the all-time greats. 3 Super Bowls, 5 trips, 2 Super Bowls. You won 3 out of 5. Like. Nobody would like to lose in a Super Bowl. Of course not. But if you literally been there 5 times, and you won 3 of them, is your legacy going to take a hit because you're a 3-time Super Bowl champion? I believe 3-time Super Bowl MVP too. Is his legacy going to take a hit? In my opinion, no, it doesn't. Next question came from my guy Nick. He said, I personally lost respect for the entire NFL this season. Everything seemed to be catered against Lamar Jackson and our Ravens as a whole. Lamar because of the MVP, and to think for 1 second this type of season doesn't come without a chip on our shoulders. To think Lamar didn't get the MVP is beyond me. Remind me of Ha Davis. But it was unfortunate. But the NFL throughout this entire season, I guess we should have paid attention to all the signs, and we did pay attention to them. But we were just thinking oh, no, you see what Lamar just did? And then you look at the numbers too, and you watch the game, you watch the film. Oh, my goodness, that's crazy. But the NFL, they kept trying to sprinkle little seeds to us hey, look, this is Josh Allen's year. We're giving it to him. I don't care what Lamar's doing. This is going to be Josh Allen. So, and that's what ended up happening. He says it's going from most valuable player to most popular player. The voters voted with a selective ballot, not choosing the best, but anyway, now I'm over it for real. My question is, how will this year motivate the team come next season? How will it? I don't know because shouldn't last year have motivated the team this season? Yeah, because they had the best record in football. They made it to the AFC Championship, had a game at the crib, and they lost. They had everything lined up their way with health too, and they lost. This year, they had the number 3 seed, had 1 home playoff game. They didn't have the best record in the NFL, but they overcame being 0-2. They went on a tear. They did their thing. They had the defense turn around. They had the offense start showing out. Lamar Jackson has a historical year, and what do? They get to the playoffs. They win 1 game, but then they lose the second one, and it's over. And then they don't get an MVP too. So they should have already been motivated. Motivation shouldn't be no question at all, but they should have already been motivated. So yeah, they'll continue to be motivated next year, but what's going to be different? I think that's the real question. The motivation is there from these past 2 seasons, really from every season, because they keep coming up short. But what's going to be different? That's what we want to see for real. He said it will most likely be a totally different team. What I'm asking also is, what do they have to do besides stay healthy? I mean, it's not like we were outplayed by Buffalo. They just protected the ball better. Boom. You answered your own question. Protect the ball better. Protect the ball better. And also, that's on offense. And on defense, if they can force some turnovers, really get into the quarterback. And get into the quarterback, that can cause turnovers to be forced. You see Philly, what they did to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. He said, and like my patience for the NFL right now, I'm out. This question came from my guy Ace. He said, what's up, Ingraven? I'm feeling a bit sour after the loss to the Bills, but it's not as painful as last year. It was very close. The situation was different, but it's still a playoff game. We lost, and we had every opportunity to win. But I feel he said I could have shed a few tears back then. I want you to put on your head coach and GM hat and help me think about improvements we can make for next season to get over the hump. First, I want Tyreek Hill and the coaches to focus on ball security. Now, that ball security part all day, every day. The Tyreek Hill part, I wouldn't mind it, but I'm like, would that happen? Would the Dolphins trade Tyreek Hill to the Ravens? I don't think anything possible though, because we ain't in the same division. We do got to play them, but we ain't in the same division, so we ain't got to see them as much, even though it feel like we play the Dolphins like once every year, it seems like. But anyway, he said also, let's keep Todd Monken for at least 1 more year. Well, you got that because they signed Todd Monken to a contract extension. Now, we don't have any details of that contract extension yet because there hasn't been a press conference. We haven't heard any of the contract details, anything like that. Not yet. Because, Ravens got a lot of other stuff going on right now. But anyway, he said, I'm tired of losing to inferior teams that we should easily beat. I want to get rid of the same old Ravens stigma. I can't stand to see another dynasty if it's not the Ravens. I'm exhausted by watching Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady succeed. Why not us? We should have had at least won 2 Super Bowls during the Lamar Jackson era. I do not doubt you at all with that one, my friend. I agree wholeheartedly. He said, one more thing. Something has to be done about the referees and their bad calls. It was disgusting to watch the Chiefs win games due to poor officiating. I'm not going to apologize for this long rant like most subscribers do, LOL. Just like the Ravens put themselves with the playoffs. I'm out. It's not right. Next question came from my guy Mike. He said, hope you and the family are doing good. God bless to you and yours. So my question is, why does everyone want to blame Lamar for not making it to the Super Bowl or discredit him for what he has done and don't want to give him his respect, or when we lose want to blame him for the loss? My thing is, it's a team game. It's more than just Lamar on the field. 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense. Defense can be to blame too, just like the offense. Could the blame for a loss be on Andrews? Can he be to blame for that Bills loss? Just like Lamar's fumble can be to blame for the loss, or just like Derrick Henry, not every single time he's scored. Every time he touches the ball can be blamed for a loss. There's many different things that can be blamed, but everybody wants to blame Lamar. The bad coaching, when Harbaugh wants to be bold and go for it on 4th down, can be a blame for a loss, but everybody wants to blame Lamar. It's Lamar's fault. Oh, it's Lamar's fault because of this, because of that, and the third, but it's more than Lamar on the field. That's just my last question of why everybody wants to blame Lamar. I'll put it against Lamar and Patrick Mahomes. When Patrick Mahomes and Lamar never see eye to eye. Patrick Mahomes got to face all defense just like Lamar got to face whoever's defense he has to face. Now with that quarterback thing, it's always more fun to say head to head with the quarterbacks because they usually the leaders of the team and whatnot. They the faces of those franchises, so it's more fun to say like that. And we know technically they don't go against the other quarterback, but they kind of do because one quarterback is leading his team, the other quarterback is leading their team. But with Lamar Jackson, did he contribute to the loss? Yeah, for sure. Was he to blame and the only one to blame for the loss? No, there were other factors as well, but he was part of it because, again, he had the fumble. He had the interception. So when we talked about this with the fumble, they got points off of that. With the interception, the Bills didn't get points off of that, but neither did the Ravens. So that took away points from the Ravens. Both of those took away points from the Ravens. So, yeah, Lamar contributed, and then, of course, you know the rest of everything else that contributed too. Anyway, he said Lamar is a team game. That's just like on ESPN. Everybody wants to blame Lamar for this and that, and they want to discredit him, but they don't do it for all the rest of the 31 other teams that's in the league. No, I think they do for some. For some get passes. Like for Josh Allen, he get major passes. They be like, oh, Josh Allen, he did so much. Oh, but then the whole narrative, oh, he only had one Pro Bowler on the team. They go to that one. They say, oh, he didn't have any help. He ain't even have 1,000. Well, you know. Anyway, it says, asking questions on ESPN like, what's wrong with Lamar? Why is he not doing it? Why is he not doing this and that? And that can Lamar beat this person, that person? What is that? But then you have to be fair and ask that question for all 31 other teams that's in the NFL. Now, I will say with Lamar, I think they hold him to a weird standard. Now, one thing that Shannon Sharp, he explained, and I was like, okay. He was like, all right, with Lamar, we judge him differently because he already has 2 MVPs. And back when Shannon Sharp was saying this, it was looking like Lamar was going to get the third. Even after Shannon Sharp finished saying it, it was still looking like Lamar was going to get the third, but we know what happened with that. But they said with him, so he's been the best player in the league not once but twice, and it should have been a third time. But anyway, so they say they held him to a higher standard with that. But then somebody in the comments, they pointed out something, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's such a good point. They were like, but when Shannon Sharp, when he be ranking these quarterbacks and stuff, he'll put a Joe Burrow or Josh Allen, he'll put these guys over Lamar. So he'll put them over Lamar, but then he'll say he'll hold Lamar to a higher standard. But then when those quarterbacks, and they not winning Super Bowls too, but he has them over Lamar, he'll be like, oh, he won't use that same criteria of judgment for those guys that he does for Lamar. So it can be real twisted. And also, what did we see? He said, when there was a debate between Lamar and Josh Allen, you did not see the same questions. The same attacks on Josh Allen or Joe Burrow. I don't know all of the rest of the 31 teams as it was for Lamar. It's not right. It's not fair. And I don't know what's got to be done, but it's not cool. And that is my question. What do you think? So, yeah, and with Lamar, that's what they do. It can be very inconsistent with how they look at Lamar. But you got to think how Lamar looks at himself. Anything short of the Super Bowl, it's not good enough for him himself. Even with whatever the media says, whatever critics say, whatever this person that he wants the Super Bowl for himself, not like for himself, like not secluding him from the team, but the standards that he holds himself to is Super Bowl or nothing, and he won't be satisfied until he gets that. So forget what everybody else is saying. Think about what Lamar is thinking. Next question came from my guy Aaron. He said 2023 Lamar versus Dak. Lamar won. 2024 Josh versus Lamar. Josh won. But hey, at least Bills Mafia can celebrate, and I'm happy for Josh Allen and the Bills. Even as a Ravens fan, cheers Bills Mafia from a diehard Ravens fan. Some people focus on narrative, some on stats, and some on both. And the fuel's fire for all Ravens fans, players, not all, but most of them, and coaches. Because Derek King Henry says he wants to retire as a Raven. So does Lamar. Revenge on NFL 2025. Here we go. Go Ravens. Now, I mean, I thought last season was going to be revenge season, but we saw how that turned out. So, yeah, I guess we got another one in store. Next question came from my guy, Daryl. He said, what's going on, family? Hope everything is well. Let me play EDC for a minute, and you and Team Keep It Clean tell me what y'all think. First, extension for Lamar, Henry, Likely, and Marlowe. Oh, okay. So, Lamar, that will bring his cap number down because I know it's going to go up significantly this offseason. Derrick Henry, yeah, another no-brainer because he said he wants to stay. Obviously, Ravens will want to keep him, and that will bring his cap number down as well. Isaiah Likely. Ooh, this is a conversation right here. I would love it, though. I would love it. I want Isaiah Likely to stay with the Baltimore Ravens. Isaiah Likely, he one of them guys, man. He really, really is. And Marlon Humphrey, I agree. Because there been some talk, there been some, not reports, there been some articles talking about trade Marlon Humphrey from Bleacher Report. I'm like, Bleacher, come on now, man. We supposed to be cool. Come on now. No. But, yeah, Marlon need to stay. He said, second, trade Mark Andrews. Ooh. So you ready to move off on Mark Andrews. I would prefer to keep him. I know his cap hit goes way up. That'd be cool if they could do like a Ronnie Stanley type of, but Mark Andrews be available for the games. Mark Andrews don't be missing no games. But that would be cool if they could rework his contract to where, but they wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. He'd probably be like, you know what, if y'all want to rework my contract, just get rid of me. Just trade me. Let's just get this over with. And I'm sure he would want to stay, but business side, he ain't going to want to take no less money or want to have to get earned incentives and whatnot. No. Mark Andrews, his health is pretty good. He's always available. So that's the thing with Ronnie Stanley. His health was not the best. So that's why they were able to do that deal with him. And then so crazy coincidence, right? They did that deal with Ronnie Stanley. And he played every single game. That for him is nothing. So anyway, he said trade Mark Andrews, David Ajabo. I don't think. Oh, he said trade Mark Andrews, David Ajabo, Kyle Van Noy to the Raiders for Max Crosby and a 5th rounder. That's what he's saying. Oh. Okay, not even a draft pick. He said Mark Andrews, Kyle Van Noy, and David Ajabo. You know what? I couldn't be mad at that. Max Crosby, difference maker, man. Straight up difference maker. That dude, I would hate to see Mark go. I would love to see Max Crosby come through. But anyway, he said, or third, trade that 5th rounder from the Raiders to the 49ers for Debo. That's having Debo would be nice, but at that price, no. Especially with the injury history, no. If he becomes a free agent, he gets cut, and then you could come up with your own contract. Oh, yeah, go for it. No problem. But Debo on his current contract, no. I would say no. And he said, fourth, use a draft to get a cornerback, O-line, and D-line. I like what you're thinking, though. I like what you're thinking. You definitely, you might be a GM in the future.